Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're diving into something pretty cool, a brand new way to predict one of nature's most powerful and, well, unpredictable forces, the wind. This is a new method that could seriously change how we plan for the future. Okay, so let's get right into it. Why is it so ridiculously hard to predict the wind? I mean, it seems like it should be simple, right? But for climate scientists, it is a massive challenge, especially in certain parts of the world where our best models just completely fall apart. And this map of South Asia, this shows you exactly what I'm talking about. All those mountains, all those valleys, that constantly changing elevation, it basically creates a chaotic puzzle for wind. This complex landscape is really the heart of the problem, and it makes wind do things that our most powerful computers just can't seem to get right. So, to really get a handle on this problem, we first need to take a look at the tools scientists are using and, understand why they're not always getting the job done. And look, this isn't just some abstract academic thing. Getting wind predictions right, that has massive real-world impacts. It's absolutely crucial for things like building effective wind farms or designing bridges and buildings that can withstand the elements, and even just preparing for extreme weather. All right, so the main tools of the trade here are these incredibly powerful computer simulations we call climate models. But you gotta know, they basically come in two main flavors, the big picture global ones and the more focused regional ones. First up, you've got global climate models, or GCMs. The best way to think about a GCM is like you're looking at a really low-res, kind of blurry map of the entire planet. It's great for seeing the huge weather systems, the big picture stuff, but it totally misses all the fine local details. So to get that detail, scientists zoom in using what are called regional climate models, or RCMs. An RCM is like going from that blurry world map to a super sharp, detailed street map of one specific area. It gives you a much, much clearer picture of what's happening right there on the ground. So here's the catch, right? Neither one is perfect. The global models are just too zoomed out to actually see individual mountains. And the regional models, well, they're better for sure, but they still have this habit of kind of smoothing over the landscape. And that smoothing effect means they often guess too high for low winds and way too low for high winds. That creates some pretty major errors, or what scientists call biases. Okay, so this is where it gets really clever. A team of researchers looked at this problem and thought, hey, instead of trying to build a whole new model from scratch, what if we could just teach the old ones to see better? And that's how they came up with something called the terrain-modified wind speed method, or just WIT for short. At its heart, it's a correction layer. You can think about like putting a special pair of glasses on the climate model that helps it see the real-world landscape and understand how wind actually behaves around all those mountains and valleys. And how it works is actually pretty straightforward. First, they start with a crazy detailed 3D map of the ground. Then, a computer analyzes every single nook and cranny, the slopes, the curves, everything. From all that data, it creates this unique wind weighting factor. And finally, you just apply that factor to the model's original guess, basically correcting it for what the real world actually looks like. Okay, so that all sounds great on paper. But the proof is in the pudding. Did this new method actually work when they put it to the test on those complex landscapes in South Asia? Yeah, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Did this clever little terrain-based trick really make a difference in how accurate the models were? Oh, you better believe it did. And this chart just says it all. I mean, look at this. On the left, you see these huge bars. That's how wrong the models were before this WT correction. And then on the right, look how tiny those error bars get. It's a night and day difference, and it worked across a whole bunch of different models. And just to put a number on it, check this out. For one of the models, the error was a mind-boggling 111%. I mean, it was more wrong than it was right. But after they applied the WI method, that error dropped all the way down to just 22%. That is a gigantic improvement. And this wasn't just a one-off fluke. Across the board, they found that this method added about 15% more accuracy, or added value, to the best models out there. So basically, it took the already good models and made them significantly better. Okay, so this is a huge win for the science, for sure. But let's bring this back down to earth. What does a better wind forecast actually mean for you and me? Why does this even matter? Well, it matters a whole lot. For starters, it means we can build wind farms that are way more efficient.
It helps us build things like bridges and skyscrapers that are safer and can actually stand up to the elements. And it gives us a much, much clearer idea of the real risks we're facing from climate change and extreme weather. And you don't have to take my word for it. The researchers who did this work said it best themselves. They said this provides, quote, crucial insights for climate-related decision-making. At the end of the day, it's not just about crunching numbers. It's about using that better data to make smarter choices for our future. And that really leaves us with a pretty cool idea to think about, doesn't it? This whole thing shows that if we can just teach our computer models to see the physical world in more detail, we can make them so much smarter. So if this works for wind, what else could it work for? What other huge, complex problems are out there just waiting for us to give our models a better look at the world?